Hey all, hope you all are doing good. Namaste and welcome to the fifth lab. And what are we going to do today? Today we are going to learn two things. One is what is tracing, why tracing, and one is about resources. So what is resources? Now before we get started with lab 5, we have done these labs. We have gone through these conceptual videos and then we have gone through these practical 4 labs. So if you have not, you can follow this and then jump on to lab 5. But otherwise, if you are already aware and you want to directly learn about the resources and tracing, very much welcome and get started with lab 5. So what are we going to do today? Let me bring it here. Yeah, I all right. So in this lab, okay, ignore the coding, ignore. First, let's try to get the full picture. So I'm going to open the tracing page. All right. So what we have seen previously is first we started using LLMs, then we started creating agents. Now what is agent? Agent is something which has a brain, which is LLM, and it has some tools to perform some actions using its intelligence, like making an API call or updating the database or getting data from a weather API. It could be anything, or it could be even creating a file, writing a file, or anything, but it should be with its own intelligence, that is its LLM. Now what is resource? For example, I think we discussed a gist about it in our previous labs, but let's spend one more minute on it. Okay, so resources and tracing, these two we are going to start. And if you have not subscribed, do subscribe and click on the notification bell to get more updates, and I don't want you to miss any thing in the playlist. So with that mentioned, let's get started. All right, so what is resource? So if I ask you anything personal, will you tell me? Of course you'll tell me if you know about it, right? So if I'm asking something about something personal, like I've taken this example in my previous lab. So if I ask something about my mom to this LLM, it does not know. So what the best it can do is it will go and see if there was any data in its training that it can get the context from. So it can answer, but otherwise it won't. So to give it the context, for example, if I want to let's say I'm creating an agent for a specific college, then it needs to know each and every detail about the college. Only then it can answer uh, to me, right? Otherwise it will have a general knowledge which is available to public but not specifically customized. Like I've said in previously, if I ask what at 2 o'clock tomorrow my mom is doing, it needs to have some details about my mom or their friend or their calendar or their past behavior or their future, a list of events, which is calendar, of course. So that's what resource is something I am telling LLM, you use this content to answer the questions that people are asking, or to interact with the prompt, to interact with the users, or to interact with the application. Basically use these things as your knowledge base. So what are those things? Those things are called resources. It could be database, it could be text file, it could be PDF, it could be video, it could be anything. But at the end of the day, it is some data I am feeding to my LLM, not for training, but to ask LLM, that not LLM, I'm giving it to agent, that while you are using your brain, you can get the context from this data. Okay, now there's one more thing. When I'm telling I'll give it resource, I hope you understood the resource. Okay, so that is first thing, we will try to use the resource. Second thing that I'm saying is, in our usual flow in previous labs, we have used tools. We have used send grid for sending email. We have used send push to push notifications to the mobile, which are our tools. Okay, so on the same page, if you see this image, I have created an agent which is making use of LLM as a brain, and it is consuming data from the resources that I am giving it, and then it is deciding whether should I call tool 1, tool 2, or both, or none, or maybe 200 tools. Okay, 200 different resources. But where it went, what it read, what is successful, what is failure, what happened. For example, tomorrow I am creating an agent for a bank, okay, and the agent thing is completed, but some customer will come and say, hey, it is credited, it is debited from account 1, but I don't see the money getting credited to account 2. What is the answer? What will you do? What evidence do you have? That's where the tracing comes in. Okay, so the LLM can read from 10 different resources. It can make use of any tool out of the 1,000 tools that I'm giving it. Okay, but to know what it did, I need to do tracing. So that is what is visible in the tracing. I can see what all actions it did and what which was successful, which was failure, what was the input, what was the output, everything I can see with this tracing. I hope you are clear with what we are going to do today. And with that mention, let's jump onto the lab. So lab 5, I am going to give you the GitHub link in the description. You can go and see it there. But let's get started. Alright, so first let me remove trace from here. So first of all, I'm just using the same agent framework and not the OpenAI core agent framework. From the agents, I'm importing agent runner and functional tool. And yeah, I think as of now, I don't need to explain because you have seen previously. And one more thing, make sure that your key is present in the .env. I'm creating the template in local.env, and let me, yeah, these things you can populate, rename to .env and use it, because I'm not going to push my .env, right? Alright, so let me run this. Make sure you're selecting the kernel, because we have taught this in previous labs already. And then what is tracing we have seen. So here I'm creating some tools. One is send email tool, which is going to send email to the given recipient. And then send push tool, okay, and then function tool. So all these tools we have seen previously, okay. And read project, so this tool I'm not using as of now. I'm going to use send email tool, send push tool, and read project scope, okay. So I'm creating few tools. One is to send email, one is to send mobile notification, and this one I'm going to use to read. Okay, so what is the resource I'm giving? So I've created one file called projectscope.txt. Okay, so this function, what it will do is, it is going to read this file path, and then it is going to return. That's it. This is not doing anything. So can I say it's a simple function that I'm writing as a tool, function as a tool? Yes. Okay, so let's create all the tools. Okay, so what each tool does, we have written here. Now if this file is not there, you can simply run this again, and this file will get created with the content. Now what is the content of it? So if you see, I am giving some overview of the project, some project, okay, core objective, key features, target user, expected outcome, business impact, some details I am dumping in my file. So I'm going to use this text file as one of my resource. Okay, now what is the resource we have seen, which act as a knowledge base for the agent. Okay, so here you don't run this. Okay, I want to tell you different ways of providing resource to your agent, where LLM can get or use it as a knowledge base. So one thing is, we previously, in previous SDKs, not now, in previous SDKs, this is how the resource used to get created. So we import the resource from agents, and then we provide the name, the path, description. But now it's not like this anymore. So I'm going to comment it so that you don't run into this error. But the reason I'm keeping is because this is how previously used to do. Okay, and the second way of providing a resource to agent is, when the LLM is running, it needs to have access to OpenAI, some platform where the file is uploaded. So here I'm saying open this file, read it, and the purpose is assistant, you upload this file or create this file on my client SDK. So with this, the agent can access the file by making API's call. If you didn't understand, ignore it. Overall, I'm showing you different methods of providing a resource. If you run this, the file will be uploaded on the OpenAI's SDK, and in return you will get file ID, okay, and everything. What is the use of this? Here is a clear picture. So when you're creating the agent, you can provide files is equal to file ID. And what is this file ID? This thing. But again, this is also old. Okay, so I don't want you to run this as well. Okay, so when you're creating agent, you give your name tracing agent, and then you have multiple ways of providing the resource. So what are the ways? Let's see here. One is, you provide an instruction that before you use the project resource for context before acting, always explain reasoning before you use the tools. Now here, this will work provided the resource you are using. Okay, but the resource is not available anymore, this parameter. So this way you cannot use. What is the second way? Second way, you can ask, second way, let me write it here. Okay, second way is where in the, okay, let me, yeah, let me do this. Okay, so you write instruction to use file, file name, and it will try to get it from the OpenAI's platform using this file. But this also is not good anymore. Okay, so this is method 1, this is method 2, and finally we are going with method 3. So what is method 3? I'm saying okay, there's one more method. Okay, so first I'm writing all the methods that I'm not using, and then the method that we are using. So in the instruction, what you can do is you write your system prompt, use this for answering your questions. You can say like this, and here you can append the content of file. So basically, because this is a system prompt, right, you can you can simply append the content of the file, and you can use that, hey, use this content. But this is not again a good way. So what I'm saying is, you call this, you make use of this tool before doing anything. Okay, so call read project scope before doing anything, use its content to understand the project and summarize it. Always explain the reasoning before using the tools. Okay, so what is this tool? This tool, you can see I provided in my tools, and what this tool does, if I scroll up, you can see this tool is simply reading my project file, the text file, and returning the content. So here I am passing my resource as tools, and so overall you understood resource is the knowledge base. So these are multiple ways of giving it. Okay, let me do, this is option 1. Okay, and this is option 2, and this is option 3. Okay, yeah, and this is option 4. So option 4 is the latest and good way. You can either ask it to, okay, I think you understood. Let's proceed. So this is how I'm creating the agent. Now we understood, if I run it, if I give some prompt, it will work. But before I execute and make use of it, I want to show you what is trace. Now tracing, you know, understood what is it, but the point is it OpenAI only is the, what are the options for tracing? So one is OpenAI, one is LangSmith as of now in this demo, but we have more tools, more platforms which you can see in the coming this thing. But as of now, we are going to use OpenAI, and then we are going to use LangSmith, two frameworks. So here you can see I am importing the trace from agents. So when I'm importing the trace from agents, it is usually OpenAI's this thing. Okay, so what I'm saying, summarize the project scope and send an update to stakeholder via email and push notification. So when I'm saying email, it will understand that it needs to make use of the email tool, and push notification, it will understand it needs to make use of the push over notification tool. And what is that tracing name? Let me say here tracing demo resource in action with OpenAI. Okay, and I'm going to run it. So what is it I'm saying? I'm just asking you to summarize the project scope. Now where you need to go? Let me open this. Okay, and yeah, let me see. Now all this is for us later on. Yeah, let me close all this. All right. So what you need to do is you need to go to platform.openai.com, and then you need to go to logs. So if you're not finding anywhere, we can also go to uh, dashboard. Let me see, logs was here. Yeah, here it is, logs. And you can see the traces is what we want to use. So let's see, click on traces, all this thing, okay, not relevant. Let's go to traces. Now in the traces you can see, if I hover on it, with OpenAI, this is the one that got executed just now. So if I click on it, okay, you were seeing some data there, and we can see some data here. Now if I open cursor, I can see this is completed. The updates have been sent successfully to the stakeholder. An email has been sent. A brief update on the project development has been sent. If you have seen my previous labs, we were setting pushover keys, SendGrid keys, OpenAI keys. So these are for the tools, and this is for the OpenAI, and we have seen it. Okay, so it completed. But to understand whether it was successful, not successful, what was the input, what was the output, which tool it used, what was the sequence it used, we are going here. So inside the trace I can see first this was a system instruction, and this was the input. So system prompt, user prompt. Okay, and then I can see it read this project scope via using this tool, and then it made, what is this? Okay, okay, so this is the output it got for the given prompt. So output is nothing but yeah, okay, let's see. So this is the output, and then it made some function called send email tool and send push tool. Okay, so this was one output, and this was one more output, and this was one more output. So these are the function calls it did, and we can see more detail in the same sequence. So if you can see, as soon as this response was completed by the LLM, then it made use of send email tool, where this was the input and what was the output. So output was that it able to send successfully. Now similarly check this. Okay, so this was the message that was drafted, and this was the output that we got. Okay, and then the final thing. Okay, what was the um, model use, all the metadata. Okay, we can see what was the output finally generated. Okay, so let's see if this is the same output that we see in our cursor. The update have been sent successfully. If you need any further assistance, and we can see this is the exact thing. So I ran this, and this is what I see, but in between what all things happen is what I did with the trace. I hope this is clear. Now let's do the same tracing. No more new concept, nothing new. We are good with this. Now let's do the same thing with LangSmith. So what is LangSmith? Let's open it here. Okay, LangSmith. So what you need to do first is you need to log in, and you need to go to settings, and then you need to go to API keys, and then you need to create an API key. Okay, and up to certain level it is free, and as of now what I'm using is also free. So here I created one project. When you are in the settings and API keys, let me see here. When you say API key, you can create a default workspace, you can create a description, and when you create an API key, you will also create a project. Okay, so here if I go to my back, this is the project that got created, and I have the API key. So what all things you need to populate? So let me go to cursor. So to set up, you need to provide these four things. Okay, let me take, these are the four things that you need to keep in your .env. So you will make this as true, and then you will remove this export, you'll remove this export, you'll remove this export. And what is this LangSmith project? If you can see, this is the project that got generated. Let me copy it. Yeah, you can copy it, and this is what you need to paste here. Okay, so you understood your key, your project. This will remain constant, and this will also remain constant. Okay, now yeah, this is fine. And then since I already did that setup, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to import the trace from LangSmith. Previously we were importing the trace from agents, which basically points us to OpenAI's SDK, but now I'm going to import from this one. So resource in action, let me keep LangSmith. Okay, and I'm giving the same thing, so it will also do the same thing, but this time we will see the tracing happening in the LangSmith. So let it run. Meanwhile, let's go to LangSmith, and okay, yeah, this is the one that is still in progress, it's not completed. Okay, but here different level of data I can see. I don't see much, maybe because I'm running the free tier. But you can see it's going on, and I see this is happening. There's no input or output as of now. Maybe we need to wait for it to complete. And what else do we see here? Okay, let's see. uh, okay, there is some metadata it is showing, but I am clearly interested in this. So we'll wait for it to complete. It's 21 seconds already, and let me open this cursor once again. Okay, here I see it's completed now. Okay, and let me go back. And why is it showing still loading? Let me refresh. Okay, so I can see it's completed. So it's not showing me much data. Maybe it's not working properly, or it is working properly, and I can see it took 21 seconds. Let me see if I can get some more details. And there's one more thing, I'm using it for more than a month. That's why it might be not showing up. And you can see it can hold only 14 days because it's all free tier. Okay, and one more thing I want to say when I'm talking about free tier and paid tier, this one initially it worked for me, then it didn't. So I understood that I am out of the free calls or free number of tokens, so I had to pay. So I paid just few 200 to 300 rupees, and I'm able to use it fluently. Here I'm showing you the free tier, so you understand there is some latency, or it was good or it was bad or something. And then if I refresh, not refresh, like I can see what happened. So it's still not loading, it's not giving me much data, I don't know why. So it's okay, I hope you understood. Let me see previous ones. Okay, yeah, I think I am out of that free tier, and I didn't want to show the paid version because the concept wise you are good, and you can see what will happen. It will show the same thing. Okay, it will show, okay, which is the project, what was the parameters, and it will also show in the previous labs when we were using. I think I would keep that screenshot, but you can see what was the order, which tools were called, and all such things. Okay, so we learned about what is resource, we learned about what is tracing, we learned the importance of it. So with that mention, we are done for today, and in the coming lab we will see what is MCP server. We'll talk more about it, but I won't reveal everything now. Next we are going to understand about MCP. So with that mention, all the best for this lab. It is available on the GitHub repository, link you can find in the description. Do subscribe and click on the notification bell to stay updated, and I don't want you to miss any videos throughout the playlist. All the best.